Basically, all your relationships have money in between. Classes in general are created by putting a value on a human. The rich one is worth more, the poor one is worth less. And the poor one doesn't know if this guy who's hanging out with him maybe is just grooming him and uses him as his little entertaining pet. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the basis of our human interactions. The main reason we support huge corporations by walking with a mobile phone. The stuff that makes you react to your alarm clock and rush to get into the car you bought to get more of that stuff. I think you almost get what I am talking about. Some say money talks, but right now I am talking about money. Interacting with each other and other humans, your friends, your family, your co-workers, the person who gives you your coffee in the morning in that shop with the high-priced snacks you need to get started. Basically, all your relationships have money in between. And those relationships can get very sour if you do not respect the respectful exchange of money you already agreed upon, a lot of times non-verbally. Actually, there's a huge divide inside of humanity between those who are rich and those who are poor. And even a lot of people who are in between poor and rich are not exempt of this type of divide. The so-called middle class is very excited to be part of the upper class and be protected from the lower class. Classes in general are created by putting a value on a human. The rich one is worth more, the poor one is worth less. Pretty easy mathematics. Also, these kind of mathematics are pretty ugly. So normally, we do not talk about this stuff. You're not discussing with everyone how much worse you are, money-wise. Not even when you are an avid YouTube consumer addicted to videos, those promise to let you in on the secret how to become rich in no time. We are taught to understand that this is not appreciated and very uneducated. We leave it to the unspoken behavior to put value on our relationships, and these relationships can get very tricky. As an example, I want to point out the relationship between a person who is rich and a person who is poor. Maybe they are friends. Yes, let's say they are friends. Both of them are humans. They have the same human problems and abilities. They can walk, talk, eat, and sleep. Both of them have desires and fears. It seems like that shouldn't be a problem if they like each other and confirm that they are friends in the front of society. But most of the time, they are not equal. Although they pretend to give this kind of image when asked about their relationship, the rich one has a lot more power to exert energy into physical manifestations. It doesn't matter that maybe the poor one is in better shape because he has to move a lot more. So probably when it comes to walking, the poor person gets very far compared to the rich one. The rich one compensates by stepping into his Rolls-Royce and have someone drive him to the desired destination. But you have the problem like when these buddies go together somewhere, the rich one has a comfortable way to get from A to B. And the poor one might have some economic restraints when it comes to physical displacement or any other financial investment in pleasing objects like food, clothing, gadgets, housing, and probably time. You know, you know the saying, time is money. So when our buddies are having joyful meetings, these type of problems might arise. When the rich one wants to go somewhere far and have a nice meal, then maybe his poor friend can join him in his Rolls-Royce to get to their place and order a salad, while the other one enjoys some expensive hot meal. Probably the rich one would prefer to pay for the meal of the other and not being looked at with a hungry face while feasting. Now we are in a psychological dilemma. The rich person doesn't know if the poor one is just hanging out with him because he pays all the bills, and the poor one doesn't know if this guy who's hanging out with him maybe is just grooming him and uses him as his little entertaining pet. And even if you talk about it, it doesn't change the inequality of energetic levels. Those are the underlying basis of their relationship. Maybe it's the other way around. The rich one is visiting his poor friend. So now he is forced to hang out in a not so comfortable environment. Maybe instead of a very cozy chair, he has to sit down on the hard floor. Maybe the poor person just gets the best he can ever offer out of his fridge, just to please the very special guest coming into his humble house. But then for the rich person, it's still very much far from what he's used to indulge. The rich person might not even appreciate the effort that has been made to please him. I guess you get the picture. The kind of inequality in relationships vary in the amount of different level experience. A lot of time it is very subtle. Maybe it's mostly overlooked because the difference in being poor or being richer is not very huge. But still, it has a subtle effect on our relationships as someone has more money than the other one. People love to get jealous. People love to get angry about others, how they use their superior financial situation to humiliate them. And people like to take advantage out of the inequality. This goes both directions. The rich one will get cheap labor. The poor one who tries to get the money from the rich by all means. The rich one who is protecting himself for not getting ripped off. The poor one who tries to protect his dignity by not giving into the financial pressure. As you can see, there's a lot going on. And that is something that you maybe are not aware of at all times. But most probably you understand exactly what I am talking about. But there are situations and places and times where all of this is not important and doesn't matter at all. Sometimes we are talking on the same level. Sometimes we dance together. Sometimes we walk on the same path. Sometimes we are attacked by the same tragedies. Sometimes we understand that you cannot eat money. Sometimes we learn that money cannot buy love. People are very much hypnotized by the idea of having money. A lot of desires are constructed around this idea to have a lot of money. But obviously, it's never about the money. It is the power that money gives you, the power to satisfy your material desires. What is money worth if you can't buy what you want? What do you do with your money? If the poor person didn't work the field and harvested what you would like to eat? What if you have a lot of money but you cannot buy food because there's none? That happens, for example, in the Second World War, when people came from the cities out into the countryside. They came with an empty stomach, but not with empty hands. They were carrying their gold and jewels and all the money they had left, begging for food. So the world turned on its head. The poor ones in the countryside were the ones who had food and could survive. Don't forget, money is only worth something because we agree that it is. You might have experienced that you go into another country and you don't have the currency that the other country uses. Then you come with your own currency and offer it to buy something. But unfortunately, the locals don't want your fake money because they can't use it. It is different currency. Maybe this is a little vintage story because nowadays we have like a global currency, and it seems like a world without borders when it comes to the situation where you want to spend money. What is really happening is that you exchange energy in between humans. Money is a form of energy. Too much of it can be destructive. Too little of it kill you. So it is all about the right amount of energy to have a comfortable life. Both situation, excess of energy or lack of energy, cause suffering. And not only the individual suffers, also, as we have learned, the relationship in between humans suffer from energetic inequality. All this information is just for your awareness. I wish that maybe it inspires you to be more kind and understanding with your fellow humans. The more equal distribution of wealth could improve this world in a very positive way. But by default, of course, it is the rich who should share their wealth with the poor. Why, do you ask? Because the rich can do that. Stop taking away from the poor the little money they have left. Stop taking away the strength that's left in the poor person to further enrich yourself. That is not good karma. I can promise you. Be generous, be kind, be human.